Hello everyone, in this video I'm going to be walking you through the Google BigQuery create row function that I just made. Now this one gets a little confusing. When you are trying to generate your access token, I was picking my brain for a minute. I haven't used Google's OAuth system for quite a while, and so when you're trying to get this access token, I'll explain it in a second, but just note that this is not your Google Cloud Console API key. It's a little different, and you have to generate it. So, um, pretty simply, you have your project, your data set, and your table ID, and then your row data. This will access this endpoint here, and you're going to insert your row data as a JSON object. So, let's look at how we might do this. I could run it again, but I want to walk you through everything. So your project ID, you're going to go through to your Google Cloud Console. You can easily upload this. I think you just click add and then you drop a CSV in there. And here's an example CSV that I have. So if we look here, this is actually our project ID. And you can see this. You can probably name it something different. This is automatically generated. Um, it'll spit you out something like this. So you're going to want to throw that into here. And then your dataset ID, you're actually going to name these dataset underscore test. Dataset underscore test. And then your table ID, data table underscore test. And you can copy the ID here, but this actually returns the entire ID. Regardless, data. Okay, and then your row data here. Now I'm gonna hit reuse last values so I don't mess it up because it's a little picky. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna send um, an array of JSON objects. And so here you see column 0. This is the name. This just came from my CSV. It doesn't have to be named this obviously, but column 0 here. This could be named ID, whatever, number, something. But you're going to want to do this exactly, and that's where you're going to input this data. So you can see I have numbers similar to this. I was testing it out for you, and that's what you're going to input in that column. And then column 1, blah blah blah. I only did the first two. You can see it's all nulled out, but you can, you know, comma, column, whatever. You can add more, similar to this. Get rid of that comma, and then it's an array of objects. Even if it's a single JSON object, I would keep it in an array, even though it should automatically convert it in this function to an array. But I do it just in case. So you can add a second item here. Here's what you want your next column to be. There you go. Make sure it matches the schema that BigQuery creates for your data table. So you can see here is your schema. So this has to be an integer, and this has to be a string. Pretty simply put. But make sure these match up. And then the last part here is the access token. I'm going to walk you through how to do that. So I actually made a replit. This isn't secure at all. You're going to want to do this locally, obviously. Otherwise, your JSON web token, could be compromised. But I did it here because I don't use BigQuery for anything. Regardless, you're going to want to create a service account on Google. I'd walk you through that, but I'm not trying to show you guys all of my information. Regardless, you can put your key.json that the Google service account will create for you when you ask it to create an API key. If you don't do it this way, you have to use Google's OAuth 2, which is like that Google sign-in pop-up. and that doesn't work in a Voiceflow environment, so you have to do it this way, at least for Voiceflow. So you're going to put your key.json, it'll look something like this, all this mumbo jumbo, and make sure you change this to whatever the location of your file is for that JSON. And then this, obviously I was using it, is your JSON web token. Run it and copy it. For whatever reason, Control C doesn't seem to be working on here for me, but that's okay. You're going to go to, I put the curl request because I'm not able to share a Postman API call, but your curl should look something like this. And the JSON web token you put in here as an assertion. Make sure that this is URL encoded and you have this value here. I'm sure there's tons of tutorials online explaining this. Headers should be default here, but it's all in the curl request if you want to copy that I have. And this is the endpoint, it's post request. So throw your insertion in here and go ahead and send it. Here you go, 200, okay. Here's your access token, crazy long. Whatever. Alright, so this expires in an hour. And I'm sure you could set up another function for doing this. But for simplicity's sake, I wanted to keep the Salesforce function to BigQuery. And now you finally have your access token. So we can go ahead and execute that. Success. Awesome. Here's a response here. You really don't need this. This just tells you that it worked. And true. So it inserted data. I have it parsed it a little bit. Blah, blah, blah. Then you can go in here and you can refresh it. And we should see that there's now 27 try this, sometimes it doesn't work. Here we are. Preview. Now there are 27 entries. Here's the ID that I put in, and here is what I put for column 1, which actually belongs to column 2, but that doesn't matter. We can check out the workflow here for creating a row. Here's a little explainer on sending it in a JSON array. There's your project ID, data set ID, your table ID, and then here's your array of JSON objects. And here's the replit link, and here's the curl command. I exit out, it really doesn't matter, it automatically generates anyways. And then it's going to output these two variables for you. You don't really need to use them for anything, but it's just nice to see. And that's it for the BigQuery create row. Thank you guys.